Hi guys, my name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, never Trump Republican. Maybe I'm a Republican Democrat now. I have no idea. But anyways, we are going to be breaking down a WIC panel where they're talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We shall be pausing intermittently and commenting on these fine folk.
Nick Fuentes was allowed to stay. Nick Fuentes, sorry, go ahead.
No, he still got in. It doesn't matter how he got in. He got there and he had dinner with the president.
I'll be the first to say there was that time period after the 2020 election where Trump was just wilding out in many different ways. One of these ways was, as we're mentioning here, but my understanding, we can look and see what his most recent commentary, what is the most recent thing Trump has said about Nick Fuentes, and I'm pretty positive it's not going to be how great of a guy he is, and evidenced by the fact, I mean, has he been to the White House? Has he had any involvement whatsoever with Trump since
Joe
that
Biden
dinner?
say that?
BizD says, isn't it a little weird that Fuentes hasn't said anything yet? He did. He had this really tearful, sad tweet about the assassination where he was like, I can't believe this. It's so surreal. It's so crazy. And I wasn't the only person to kind of talk shit to him in quote tweets or replies. And, basically I was like, you're a part of this, bro. You're a part of this. How did you think you were going to dispossess Jews from power? You were obviously going to detain them, segregate them, incarcerate them. That's how you were going to depose Jews from power. How are you going to segregate blacks? Obviously, you were going to segregate blacks using law enforcement and using the military if necessary to resegregate the races. So if that's your line of argumentation, why wouldn't violence be on the table? Why is one guy getting shot in the neck the thing that makes you freak out? What's up? Beautiful. Thank you, baby. I love you. So Nick Fuentes actually did do a thing. The left is killing people and cheering it on, and Connor wants to talk about what is the right doing, crashing out much. Paul Watson, you fucking dipshit. Weren't you? I almost guarantee you. So you have Trump getting shot in the ear as your profile picture. Do you give a shit that the Trump administration is estimated to be killing 14 million people through preventable disease through destroying PEPFAR and USAID? Do you care that the Trump administration kidnapped and deported people to a gulag in Central America where they were sodomized and tortured? And one of them in particular was a super innocent guy named Andre Hernandez Romero. Did you care about the fact that Trump just drone striked a civilian vessel in the Caribbean, that they have not released the information on how they know that it's a narco terrorist? Have you been crying or playing any sad fiddles for the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people who are being hunted down around our country, detained and deported and sent to any of that shit? No, you don't give a fuck about violence. You just care about the violence that's on your side. That's the only thing. You want to endlessly kill, maim, and torture other people, but one of your people gets shot and you fucking cry. Shut up. Your crocodile tears don't work on me, friend.
Hassan was this great guy. Did that happen ever? Or?
Yeah, to be clear, the DNC kicked out Hassan. The Democrat National Convention kicked Hassan out as well.
Well, they also kicked Nick Fuentes out of Mar-a-Lago because he was not because he was a bad guy, but because he was hanging out with Kanye.
That's true.
Just isn't some crazy comparison between Hassan and...
Well, that's because Hassan spends his entire platform bashing the Democrats and saying don't vote for Democrats. It's not...
Yeah, but
okay.
But to act like he's getting all of these puff pieces from CNN and all of these huge as a the mainstream media promotes him and holds him up on this pedestal, it just isn't the same. So that's just why Nick Fuentes was brought up. But yeah.
Who do you think leads policy discussion among Democrats versus Republicans more?
Oh, yeah. See, and that's mad funny, too, because people are pointing out there was a video of Hassan Piker seeing Charlie get smoked because he was supposed to do a debate with him soon. And Hassan talks about terrorism and political violence all the fucking time. And he looked shook. And so, yeah, I think we have every right. If Nick Fuentes comes out and says, oh, violence bad. This is so scary. This is so crazy. I don't like this. I just don't know where we are as a country. I welcome him having that commentary. But at the same time, I think he needs to be fucking bullied and said, you're a part of this, you fucking idiot. You've been cheering this on for years, and now you see a spout of blood and you cry. Fuck you. And I think we should be saying the same thing to Hassan Piker. The let the streets run red with capitalist blood. America deserves 9/11. Israel is a Nazi, authoritarian apartheid state, and anybody who supports Nazism shouldn't be a dog catcher in any city inside the United States. Oh, those 2 Jews got smoked in DC or whatever. Who knows? This isn't a false flag, but man, it looks like a false flag. Fuck Hassan Piker. He sees one spout of blood and he crumbles. This is how you know these people are pussies who don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. Dashing Rogue for 5. Thank you. Says Charlie Kirk left behind a single mother and 2 kids who saw it happen. We need people running for office rather than activists. Yeah, I guess.
Hassan with Democrats or Nick Fuentes with Republicans?
Gosh, I don't
Yeah,
think
what do
any
you
of them,
think it is?
right? I don't think
You
either
think
of
it
them
is.
really have,
Yeah.
like, neither. Can I pick C
Neither
out
are
of you
people.
both?
Like,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
so do the left not right now caught in a bind where the Democrats have to both appease the Hassan types to maintain that voting base as well as appease the mainline Democrats? I mean, weren't
Example?
when Trump was elected, wasn't there literally like this issue because the Democrats?
Yeah, kind of. So you don't need to appeal to Hassan, but you need to appeal to people who identify 10% of the party identifies as socialists. I guarantee you 98% of them are like sock Dems or Scandinavian model socialists, but that's okay. They're still idiots, but that's okay because they're calling themselves socialists. But then another 10% identify as extremely liberal. And what I assume I mean by that is that they're progressive. And so because people don't know what words mean anymore. And so 20% of the Democratic Party would probably be amenable to Hassan Piker or would watch him without much objection until he starts talking about terrorism. And then when he starts talking about terrorism, they might be like, oh, well, I don't like it, but I see what he's saying. Like that. That's the problem that the left is dealing with 100%.
Democrats were complaining about Hassan types not voting for them, and so they lost votes that maybe could have tipped the scales and made it so Trump won. But they didn't vote for Kamala because she didn't give
What
them
policy
everything that they
concessions
wanted on
have they made?
Palestine.
Paul Watson says, just whataboutism. Thanks for showing you don't care that the left wants people killed. Connor cares more about random potential deaths. You are a cuck. Paul Watson, you're a fucking dumbass. Don't worry. I'm going to make a drawing for you. This is going to be the Paul Watson's a fucking dumbass. I'm going to title it the Paul Watson is a dumbass drawing. Paul Watson is a dumbass drawing. Okay. And then we're going to put real shit. And we're going to put I sleep. Okay. Cause this is you. Cause you're such a fucking idiot. Like, you should not be engaged with politics, brother. You should be engaged with miniature vehicles. You should be playing with toy cars, not politics. Okay, so real shit. Trump, I'll put it. Trump almost gets assassinated. Charlie Kirk gets shot in the jugular. Okay? So this is real shit. This is what you care about. Okay, because you're a fucking idiot and you can't care about multiple things at once because you're a fucking 80 IQ dipshit who should have nothing to do with politics. Okay, here's I sleep. Okay, this is you. Let's go ahead and make it huge because we're gonna have a lot to put in here. So let's just presume that you're like the vast majority of conservatives and hold the vast majority of conservative opinions, okay? So we have the Katie Hochul kidnapping plot. We have the, what is it? Paul Pelosi hammer attack. We have 2 Democratic state reps getting murdered along with their families. We have, what's another good right-wing example of violence? Oh, we have drone striking civilian vessels in the Caribbean without due process. We have detaining, deporting without due process innocent people to a Central American gulag where they are tortured and sodomized. We have, what else do we have? What's another interesting one? We have 3 million dead from HIV AIDS to cut almost none of the federal budget. None of the federal budget. We have an additional 11 million dead from dengue, cholera, malaria. I don't know what else is in Africa, but preventable disease. You have Trump trying to overthrow the Republic in 2020. You have Trump and his sycophants joking about running a third term. You have Trump saying the Constitution should be suspended in 2022 over unproven electoral fraud. What else should I add? What else should I add for all the things that you fucking ignore? That I forgot to mention. He's a fucking pedophile. Forgot that. Current leader of the Republican Party is a pedophile who likely raped 14 to 17-year-old girls who were sex trafficked by his best friend of several decades. So this is you. This is you. Trump almost got assassinated. Half of this shit. Oh, hold on. I forgot about Ukraine. I forgot about Ukraine. Slashed aid to Ukraine, resulting in thousands, if not tens of thousands, of innocent Ukrainian deaths that were preventable. So you will laugh and guffaw whenever Katie Hochul almost gets kidnapped, when Paul Pelosi gets hit with a fucking hammer, when 2 Democrats, I think it's 4 people total, get shot, and I think 2 or 3 of them were killed. Drone striking civilian vessels in the Caribbean, detaining, deporting with due process innocent people to a Central American gulag where they are tortured and sodomized. 3 million dead from HIV/AIDS cuts, which does almost nothing to the federal budget. 11 million dead from dengue, cholera, malaria, preventable disease. Trump trying to overthrow the Republic in 2020. Trump and his sycophants joking about running a third term. Trump saying the Constitution should be suspended in 2022 over unproven electoral fraud. Current leader of the Republican Party is a fucking pedophile who raped 14 to 17-year-old girls who were sex trafficked by his best friend of several decades, and slashing aid to Ukraine, resulting in thousands, if not tens of thousands, of innocent Ukrainian deaths that were preventable. Is this the summary? Is this you? Is this who you are? Is this what you care about? Because if you are, this is why you're a fucking dumbass. This is why you're a fucking idiot, and you shouldn't even bother talking about politics, because you're too stupid to understand that multiple horrible things are happening in the world at once. And you guys have either cheered this on or laughed at this as it's been happening. But because it's an abstraction, because you can't see it with your own eyeballs, because you can't see it on a video, it's not real to you because you're a fucking idiot and a child. You're a dumbass. You should not be involved in politics. You should leave politics to somebody who's smarter than you. That's why we're in a representative democracy. That's why we're in a representative democracy. That's why we're in a republic, because you are too stupid to understand what's going on in the world. And your moral outrage is so paper thin, so unbelievably vapid, so unbelievably cruel and stupid that the fact that you have the same vote as me repulses me. You're fucking disgusting. Anyways, let's save this as the Paul Watson is a dumbass. Paul Watson is a dumbass. Congratulations, brother. You're immortal on my stream.
But how were they? But how was the and how are the liberals bowing down and doing whatever they could to get the Hassan types in their crowd? If you're saying that they didn't vote for Democrats and so they didn't do enough time with them, so you're saying two different things in one sentence.
Why are you trying to make concessions to someone whose entire platform is going scorched earth against their
I'm not
entire
making
organization?
concessions. I'm saying
not you, not you. I'm talking about
sorry.
the Democratic. Yeah, why would the Democratic Party or prominent figures be making concessions to? That's my point. That's my point. They're not, because that's his entire platform.
Yeah, Deej seems to think that they are, and that somehow Hassan is more of an influence on the Democratic Party than Nick Fuentes is on the Republican Party.
Not the mainline DNC, but there are ancillary news organizations that are propping Hassan up because they think that he can convince Generation Z males to vote Democrat.
True. This is true. So the liberals might want to distance themselves from Hassan, but unironically, there are organizations that often will work with Hassan Piker just because he has so much cultural relevance.
Joe Rogan of the left.
GQ?
Yeah.
How many times have we heard that term?
Voided Parent says, I haven't slept in 48 hours and I'm downing an energy drink right now to stay awake. No, put the energy drink away and go to sleep.
Joe Rogan of the left.
GQ?
You know what we need? We need a TYT of the left, okay? We need the Young Turks of the left. That's what we need. $10 from Per Thompson to say the quote-unquote regular right is now completely illiberal, like Prime Kai, and will agree with anything their God Emperor says. Trump is ruling by fiat and is ignoring Congress completely. Thank you.
So, Deej. So,
and $10 more.
Sorry.
$10 more.
Okay.
Prime wishes he could do the same, forcing Medicare for all or whatever things he thinks is quote unquote right. Horseshoe theory come to reality. Thank you for their $10.
Luke for $5 says, nothing is going back to normal as long as January 6th supporters remain in our government. Only reason January 6th wasn't more red is because of brave police. I agree with you.
I'm sorry, just super quick. I'll be at this 10 seconds long and then ask your question. I just looked up what was the general Republican response to Trump's dinner with Nick Fuentes, and it was Mitch McConnell denouncing it and Kevin McCarthy denouncing it, as well as pretty much every other Republican that was asked. So just as a FYI, how much sway and influence Nick Fuentes might have with the Republicans.
No one said he had
Deej.
a crazy amount of influence, but the comparison was to Hassan, and the Hassan has more. So
It was brought up as Nick Fuentes literally had dinner with the president.
he did.
So that's how we got on the topic.
Because we're talking about mainstream media doing puff pieces on Hassan, like he's someone that the mainstream media is like propping up as the voice of the people.
I guess call me when Nick Fuentes is streaming Among Us with Mike Johnson.
Deej. So,
With the president. How is that not more than having Among Us with AOC? What the?
The president has dinner with a lot of people, and it doesn't necessarily signify political alignment.
Plus, I just read out the Senate leader.
Oh, Fatsimo says, the Michigan governor kidnapping plot had more informants than it had suspects. Oh no, that makes it good that 3 or 4 people decided to kidnap a fucking Democratic governor. I guess that means it's okay then. The fact that cops were able to foil the plots means that there was nothing wrong with it. You won.
And the House leader both explicitly condemned that dinner. So if you want to talk about the Republican Party,
hey, Deej.
I explicitly condemn Hassan. Right?
Oh my God, they said like.
Yeah,
10
we're
seconds.
condemning Hassan too.
Yeah.
We're not pretending and living in fairyland like it doesn't matter who the president.
Oh, we forgot Gaza. Doobie's right. Holy shit. I forgot. This just shows how much of a fucking Philo-Semite Israel shill I am. I forgot about the fucking Gazan massacre. Here's another reason why he's a fucking idiot. Israel killed, confirmed, 60,000 people, 40,000 of whom are civilians and are allegedly, I'm still a Zio shill, currently starving to million people with projected deaths from disease and malnutrition, including pregnant mothers and infants, are at 200,000. This is a 2-month-old estimate. It could be much worse, and Trump is endorsing it. There. Here's another reason why I don't give a fuck about your crocodile tears, Paul Watson. Here's another reason. I at least say Israel has a right to exist, and I don't give a shit that 20,000 fucking militants got smoked, and I think terrorism is bad, and it's one of the most counterproductive things that you can do. However, I do think it's fucked up that 40,000 civilians have been killed, even if it's not necessarily preventable in urban warfare. But I do think that starving 2 million people as leverage is beyond fucked up. And I think that 200,000 people, including pregnant women, miscarrying because they're so calorie starved that they can't carry their pregnancies to term, and women and children and men starving to death, estimated to be around 200,000 people. That's why when Charlie Kirk says, oh, Israel's in the right, we defend Israel, we love Israel, this, that, the other. Yeah, he's endorsing this, you dipshit. Words mean things. These are not abstractions. These are real people who have died, you fucking moron. What a dipshit.
He has dinner with. That's just dumb.
Deej. So I will agree on one point. You said when I came in.
Oh, no. Nice. Paul Watson, FBI entrapment, crazy. FBI entrapment. So even though there were 3 or 4 Republicans who wanted to kidnap a Democrat, it's all FBI. I got you. Crazy Paul Pelosi lover. So it's Paul Pelosi's fault that he got hit in the fucking head with a hammer because it was his gay lover. Tim Waltz supporter, which is bullshit because the roommate said that he was a Trump guy. Cartel strikes deporting gang members, which we don't know. And then also deporting gang members. Andre Hernandez Romero was not a gang member. He was a Venezuelan hairdresser who was tortured and sodomized. So fuck you. Potential deaths, aka lies. So yeah, you're too dumb for politics. Democrats did steal an election. Third terms are jokes. Tweet Epstein lies. Oh, you're actually too stupid. Don't worry, I'll ban you myself. You're too stupid for politics. You should not be in my chat. You are genuinely too stupid for politics. Oh, crypto scam. Yeah, I mean, that's not violence, but yeah, of course. Of course. A horse, of course. Oh, closing hospitals. That's another classic one. Oh, yes. Sorry, this one's important. This already almost killed someone. There was a rural hospital that got closed, and as the doctors were doing a press conference for closing the rural hospital because they rely on significant federal subsidy to operate, somebody like a choking child drove up. Closing rural hospitals / kicking 10 million people off healthcare, causing preventable death. Yeah, this is you. This is you because you're too stupid for politics. Don't worry, guys. I already banned him. You don't need to.
And I didn't necessarily give a remedy, right, for the issue at hand. And that would have at the very least added to how useful the discussion is. And I would agree with you there. Right? I'll absolutely give you that.
Well, hold on. No, the problem wasn't that you didn't provide a remedy, right?
Well,
Doobie, I don't like democracy. Democracy is the worst form of government except for all the other ones. I genuinely hate democracy. I just think it's the best system that we currently have.
If you
with
had
that
said
before.
everything you did, but then provided a remedy, it still would have been just as bad in the minds of the
Okay, so
people
then we could have
who feel
ignored your
like-
previous comments. No problem then. All right, then I'll ignore those previous comments. And in which way? But the remedy that I would provide would be the exact remedy that if this had been someone else who had been assassinated, right, and Charlie Kirk was commenting on it, it'd be the remedy that he was shut down because he didn't want to discuss that. It was his job as a propagandist to end those conversations. So my remedy would be, gun control. We want more gun control in this nation, right? There are disturbed individuals who have access to weapons, right?
I would be curious as to what policy Prime Kai thinks would have affected this specific incident. I know that he's probably trying to prevent deaths in the aggregate, but I guarantee you that this assassination would have been possible with a bolt action rifle. So if it wasn't a bolt action rifle, I'd be surprised.
They took a shot at Trump. I condemn taking a shot at Trump just as much, right? I'd also talk about how awful Trump is, right? Fascist. But I would say that we don't want these individuals to easily get their hands on those guns. I don't want.
Yeah. Sorry, Doobie. See, this is, you guys keep dogging on Doobie, man. You keep saying Doobie's a piece of shit, but then you say stuff like this, right? Yeah, Pac-Man to anyone calling Trump a Nazi fascist who intends to destroy the country. The major issue is that Trump is a proto-fascist undermining our country. Well said, Doobie.
Mass shootings to be happening. I want, like, in the wake of the lady who got stabbed, unfortunately. I don't want disturbed individuals walking around our streets instead of demagoguing against how homeless people are dangerous or whatever, right? I'd say instead, we should have mental health care in this country. Reagan closed.
But I'm reading chat more than I'm paying attention to Prime Kai. I'm not gonna lie. Fung Dark says you forgot the only important issue in the galaxy.
our healthcare facilities way back when, and now instead those people were just put out in the streets without any help, right? All the things that Charlie Kirk was against, I would apply to the situation so that there's no more Charlie Kirks in the future. Definitely.
I'm glad you bring that up, Prime, because
Sure.
I actually wanted to make a comment on something that you had said, which was a false equivalency, by the way. Yes, Charlie Kirk has said when these things happen, essentially, no, gun control is not the solution. You know, he has
He's right.
also said
Everybody keeps saying that, like Charlie saying that there's a certain amount of acceptable death in order to maintain the civilian right to keep and bear arms. He was right. He just got shot. It happens.
that we can't talk about like gun control or how to prevent this while
How about we talk about people control?
the bodies are still warm or whatever, right? He has said that. Has he ever said, well, those school kids were fascist?
Ooh, good point. Harui Suzumiya says, hold on, Haruhi, I'm assuming you're Japanese. Haruhi Suzumiya says Tucker Carlson is probably mortified. Dude, Tucker Carlson is not doing a public event that is outside for the rest of his life.
I believe, and I don't.
No, you fucking idiots. So Connor's justifying the murder. The left is discussing they're celebrating a murder. No, I'm not justifying the murder. I don't think the murder is correct. Okay? I don't think the murder was correct at all. I think it's immoral to murder your political opponents within a Republican democracy. But if you can look at this and just be like, oh, I have no idea. Why are people so mad? I'm so cute. I'm so uwu. I'm so small. Why would you attack a small guy on his birthday? How dare you? Then you're fucking coping. You're fucking coping. You want me to fucking, you don't, I can say, earnestly, I can say, murder was never the solution to these problems because effectively now our politics are worse. So murder was never the solution to these problems. But you have to understand that even if these numbers are off by 90%, The Trump admin killed 1.5 million people through incompetence. He tried to overthrow our republic. He's joking about running a third term, and Bannon sincerely wants him to run a third term. In 2022, he said the Constitution should be suspended over unproven electoral fraud. He sex trafficked 14 to 17-year-old girls. He slashed aid to Ukraine, resulting in thousands or tens of thousands of preventable deaths. He's endorsing, at minimum, an ethnic cleansing, if not a genocide as we speak. And then you guys come back and you're like, oh, I so small though. I so small. I do nothing. Why you attack? Why you so angry? I don't know why I became Japanese, but the point is, like, fuck you. Fuck you is what I have to say. You want me to cry because Charlie Kirk got shot. Meanwhile, whenever we talk about any of these things, you guys just laugh. You laugh at this. You laugh at 3 million dead Africans. You laugh at 11 from AIDS. You laugh at 11 million dead Africans from preventable disease. You laugh at tens of thousands of Ukrainians getting killed. You laugh at poor rural people getting kicked off of healthcare and then dying from preventable disease. You laugh when people get drone striked in the Caribbean without due process. So why the fuck, if you're laughing at, what is it, like 14,200,000 people getting killed and probably another few 100,000 people getting tortured or murdered, why the fuck would I give you any crocodile tears? Why would I give a fuck about your opinion? You have no gauge of reality. You cannot understand reality in a complex manner.
I don't have an encyclopedic understanding of all things Charlie Kirk said. So if I'm wrong,
Why not?
I do apologize.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, why not? Well, I don't have listen to the words of Charlie Kirk. But I believe he's attacked the ones from, it wasn't Sandy Hook, the Florida high school. There's been so many
Parkland shooters.
The Florida high school one that happened a few years ago. Like David Hogg was from that one.
Parkland.
Parkland.
Kirkland. Was it Kirkland?
Parkland.
Parkland.
Nick,
Yes, thank you.
Nick Wright Kraut, and what was this? I don't remember, but yeah.
David
Yeah,
Hogg does
I believe
suck, though.
he attacked the Parkland kids who were advocating for gun reform in that moment, right? So that's my understanding. Again, if I'm wrong, I do apologize.
I mean, like if we're talking about, like after the event occurs a year later and there are kids that are doing political advocacy and
they were attacked soon afterwards. Lots of them were doing political advocacy a lot sooner than that. People very soon after, like kids were speaking out. That's how they got famous. In that moment, the country was watching them. That's when they started doing political activism.
Okay,
They didn't wait.
is there an equivalent where Charlie Kirk was saying it's horrible that those kids got shot? We should denounce political violence in this country, but
that wasn't political violence. That was just a mass shooting.
have you listened to those kids' rhetoric? They said dangerous things. They're dangerous people.
He attacked them for their political beliefs when they were advocating for their dead.
Some political
individuals. I'm sorry, it wasn't equivalent.
Ryan says, Connor now banning people because he's a baby. Nice. Go fuck yourself too. My chat. Fucking retards. You guys are so dumb, man. You're so dumb. Like, genuinely pisses me off. I bring up 14 million dead, and you're like, but Charlie got shot. And it's like, yes, Charlie got shot. It's fucked up. I don't want a civil war. But now you're cheering on a civil war right now, and you won't admit that you did anything fucked up that might have pissed off a lot of people. I can say that murdering Charlie was fucking wrong. I can say that. I can say it's evil. It's bad. It makes our society a worse society. 100%. 10 toes down. Y'all can't say the same. Y'all can't look at the drawing that I made Paul Watson and say, oh yeah, maybe 14 million people projected to be killed through preventable disease is bad. Maybe electing a pedophile was bad. Maybe drone striking civilians without due process is bad. Maybe torturing and sodomizing Central American migrants in gulags in El Salvador is bad. It would be amazing to have any conservative, instead of pearl clutching about how we're being mean to them. And I don't even consider you guys conservatives. I don't consider MAGA conservative at all. it would be nice to have any MAGA person be like, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. I still think that, I still think Trump's the better guy compared to Kamala for XYZ ABC reason. But yeah, this shit's fucked up. I don't think I've heard that once from a single MAGA supporter. They can never admit that their side did anything wrong.
Situation that like this like matches exactly what happened at that point in time, right? Like, so like we can't draw all those parallels. I'm saying that in that moment, you're asking how has he reacted in the past. My understanding, again, if I'm wrong, I do apologize. My understanding is that in that moment he did attack these people because they were calling for a gun reform. Again, I apologize if I'm wrong.
But then
he's attacking
the
political
inverse is,
message.
yeah, but then the same point that Prime you came in here to make, which was, yes, we condemn violence. It's bad that he was killed, but we need to be able to have a conversation about who he was as a person. The inverse has to apply then to, it's bad that these kids were killed and now some of them are speaking out, but let's have a conversation. Let's talk about why their policy suggestions are stupid, because now they're stepping into the political debate arena. They don't just get infinite immunity because they were a part of a tragedy like that. There has to, like the same way you came in saying there has to be.
SGM says, what do I specifically hate about democracy? I hate that morons get a franchise. I hate that morons get to vote. That's what I hate about it. I hate that people like Paul Watson and people like Ryan, who are so unbelievably fucking ignorant and stupid and ideologically inconsistent and tribal and biased. I hate that they get a say in how our society is governed. They are not morally, ideologically, intellectually, or physically equipped to be a citizen of the United States. If I had the ability to bar people from voting because they're too stupid to vote, I would bar them from voting. And by the way, it wouldn't be ideological. I would ban all of the left-wing idiots, and I would ban all of the right-wing idiots, and I would ban all of the centrist idiots. Name me a political commentator, I'll tell you whether or not they get to keep a vote. Weirdly enough, Nick Fuentes is smart enough. He gets to keep his vote. Adam Friended, too dumb, should not get a right to vote.
The ability to have discussion.
You can actually respond to political, like if in that same moment, right? And this obviously didn't happen, so this is fantasy, right? In that same moment, if one of the parents came out,
True Zealot says that list is hella disingenuous. Tell me what I missed.
And we found out like the shooter was trans, right? And said that in that moment, like crying over her dead child, like actually killed child, that like trans people are dangerous, right? No, in that moment, yeah, I can condemn that rhetoric, even if their child was killed. Like say, hey, that can be destructive. So no, I'm saying yes, we don't give political immunity. That we should discuss these things in the moment. That's my only point.
Prime,
Yeah, but you're.
Wowman542 says, laugh my ass off at Connor failing to pronounce Haruhi Suzumiya like a boomer. Listen, I went to Okinawa and I have some anti-Japanese racism. They're lucky I didn't use a slur.
Condemning Charlie Kirk.
Like,
apparently for doing that.
No, he asked me to give me an example, and I gave him an example.
No, hold on. Is there like an example of like a school shooting where a trans student is like brutally murdered by somebody and they get away? We don't know who murdered them. We don't know the motive, but a trans kid was brutally murdered. Do you think it would be okay to say, well, obviously political violence is bad. It's tragic that trans kid died, but transism in America is dangerous. The ideology that kid represents is dangerous.
Hold on, I got an example of this. They weren't killed, but they killed themselves. They jumped off a bridge. They made a post about it before they did it, right? And a lot of people said a lot of bullshit. And a lot of the people who were talking about it say, obviously I condemn their bullshit, but we do have to talk about how trans ideology is affecting the youth and things like that. So that absolutely has happened on the right. That is something they've done over and over again.
But
we heard Fox News talk about trans shooters in the 30-second clip we saw.
That's
today.
So, but it's similar, but not quite the same with the suicide, because the discussion was around how transgender individuals have an extremely high suicide rate, and we should try to not promote that. It was in response to people saying do a backflip. That was in response to people saying do a backflip to that post.
But also, too, are we
But that-
talking about these are serious political commentators that are memeing and joking on that? Or are we talking about just the Twitter verse?
Okay, the Twitterverse informs
they're
these
about.
things, right? The biggest lie we tell on both sides is, oh, that's just some rando on Twitter.
Hayil, good to see you, brother. It's been a while. They scream and holler when a Ukrainian woman gets stabbed on a bus. They cheer and laugh when Ukrainian women, children, and elderly are being deported by Trump and or are getting smoked by Russians. Yeah, absolutely.
These are a groundswell of people, right? It's not just one, it's not just two, it's not just 10. It's hundreds and thousands of them, right, that are doing this. And yes, it is big mainstream Republican or right-leaning, at least, influencers, pundits, etc., who make.
Yeah, 14 million aren't dead. No shit, Fatsimo. Do you know how time works? Okay, listen, you respond in good faith, so I'm not going to ban you or anything, but like, do you know how time works? Because what we do with projections is we estimate based off of variables what the future is going to be like. And as we do things, we realize that our projections aren't always correct, but we can update our information and make them more accurate in line with reality as time goes on. So you understand that very abruptly, we ended AIDS and mosquito prevention in Africa. Okay, you understand that, right? And you understand that tens of thousands of people have already died as a result of that. And if it's allowed to continue, which it's going to be allowed to continue, it's going to be millions of people. You understand that, right? I hope you understand how time works. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you function.
Make these types of excuses for this terrible behavior, where they will say, obviously I condemn this, it's not okay, it's not okay they do it, right? But we do have to have a talk about how trans ideology is hurting our children.
Or if we want an even better one-to-one,
that
any
still
other
isn't the same
political
thing
event, like
as
Jan 6
them
or anything
specifically
else.
saying this person deserves.
Conservative liberalism says, I get that you don't like drone striking without any transparency, but what if it's a small drone? No. If you want to change drug interdiction to the point that we are just killing cocaine and fentanyl smugglers, then you need to have some kind of congressional oversight on the intel that is developed for kill orders. Killing drug traffickers is crazy. Now, could it be the right policy? I don't know. But I don't trust the Trump admin to just randomly smoke civilian boats in the Caribbean. I'll tell you that.
It is enough in
It's terrible
kind
that they killed
to make.
themselves.
Is it
but
that you're making distinctions without differences here?
I think that there is a difference, because you're not saying that the actions someone took to harm another person are are a expected response to the rhetoric that person says.
And because too, with the suicide example, it's a completely contained example of a self-inflicted outcome. Basically, what we're talking about here with Charlie Kirk is this is not something he did to himself, but people are trying to say basically that he did do it to himself because of his rhetoric, because of being a fascist, being a Zionist, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I want to give
it's entirely analogous. How about something like Jan 6, where the excuses are, oh well, yeah, it's bad, but what did they expect? They stole the election. Is that that's more analogous, isn't it?
Yeah, you're
True Zealot says, this is the second time you said it. Your list is disingenuous beyond all reason. Brother, what should I add? Tell me. Otherwise, I just don't think I think you got a fistful and nothing.
not going to find anyone here saying that.
Okay, but that's still the Republican, generally, that's still the Republican ideas around Jan 6.
Even then, I don't know.
Who was murdered
No?
premeditation January 6th?
Tally came up.
This
if you
is
have
the
it.
problem here. Well, I mean,
Oh yeah, I forgot
he
you're
was.
Republican.
Yeah, okay, I'm literally not a Republican, but I think Charlie Kirk was clearly a good man, and this is a horrible.
I do not think Charlie Kirk was a good man. I think he was a good man in the respect that he had a wife, he had kids, he provided for them, he paid his taxes, he participated in politics. But the way that Charlie Kirk viewed the world, I think, is a toxic dumpster shit fire.
Horrible tragedy, a despicable act of violence that no one should be celebrating. And yes, we can also acknowledge that it is disgusting when people rush to politicize other tragedies. There is something different between someone taking their life and talking about mental illness or talking about gun control and someone premeditated.
True Zealot, he's talking about political violence specifically in the US. Connor goes off on a list of just randomly bad policy positions. No, this is violence. What do you think political violence is? True Zealot, you might have an outdated perspective of politics. Okay? Politics. Definition. Let's go ahead and look it up. The activities associated with governance of a country or other area, specifically the debate or conflict among individuals or parties, or having or hoping to achieve power. Specifically, it is who has power, how they wield it, and why. You're making some kind of differentiation that, while convenient to you, is not sane. You are able to dismiss, okay, Katie Hochul kidnapping plot, that's 100% right-wing. Paul Pelosi hammer attack is a schizophrenic, but right-wingers were celebrating it. 2 Democratic state reps get murdered. The roommate to the murderer said that they were a Trump person. And then you're saying the rest of these. So, okay, so these, you got between 2 and, I don't know how many people were killed here. You got 2 and 4 people killed. You got 1 person grievously injured, and you have 1 person planned to be kidnapped. And then you got Trump almost getting assassinated and Charlie Kirk gets shot in the jugular. That's actually pretty close to parallel. So if you just want to cut out this list on the top half, go ahead. But politics is about who wields power, why, and how. And if you're going to say that's what's motivating political violence against the right is not all of these things down below, you're fucking coping. You think you can drone strike civilian vessels in the Caribbean without people getting pissed? You think you can detain, deport without due process innocent people to Central America where they're tortured and sodomized and nobody's going to get mad? You think that you can kill 14 million people through fucking incompetence and nobody's going to get mad? You think that you can try to overthrow the Republic of the United States, which, by the way, this one should get thrown up here. This is absolutely political violence and one of the most serious threats to our country within like 130 fucking years. So you think you can try to overthrow the Republic of the United States and people aren't going to get mad? You think that you can say that the Constitution of the United States should be suspended in 2022 and never prove your electoral fraud and not get mad? You think that you can do all these things and people aren't going to wish harm or death upon you when you gleefully kill 14,200,000 fucking people and you injure and torture tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands more? You think people aren't going to want to kill you? Are you crazy? What the fuck are you talking about, man? This is politics, baby. Politics is power. Politics is who wields power, why, and how. This is why people hate MAGA. Right here. Yes, there's some things about rival political violence. But this is why everybody who's not MAGA hates MAGA. It's why I hate MAGA.
Planning a premeditated murder against someone on the basis of their political beliefs. There's no reason to rationalize this.
Police officers died because of their injuries
horrible.
from Jan 6, right?
Okay, were they specifically targeted and murdered in cold blood?
Yeah,
because
they
of their
said in
political
January
ideology?
6th.
They were
And
they were
the
attacked
January
because
6th
they were
rioters
trying
were
to
like,
stop
hey,
people from going
kill
in.
the cops, attack the cops. We have video of them literally saying, attack and kill the cops.
Does this make you feel better? Like, I'm just wondering what bringing up that was tragic too. That's horrible.
You just
It's
got here.
terrible
We were
that
having a
police
whole
officers
Don't move
conversation
past that.
about
Don't move
an
past that.
analogy.
Like, you
They
specifically
weren't
said it didn't happen.
specifically. They were not specifically
They
targeted.
specifically talked about
and
targeting the
murdered
cops that were
in
right
cold
there.
blood on
Attack
the
the
basis
cops.
of their political beliefs.
Because they were
Oh, no.
Yeah, even if they didn't kill the cops, or even if the January 6ers didn't kill anyone, like people died of heart attacks and some cops committed suicide afterwards, They tried to overthrow the country of the fucking United States. How is that not the most serious shit on the fucking planet?
Oh, okay. Oh, now we have to put on the basis of the political belief. So add another, move the goalposts
Of
again,
course,
right?
yes, of
add
course,
another
that fucking
requirement.
matters when we're talking
Can I
about
ask
political
why?
violence. Yes.
Just
No,
look,
hold on.
why?
First, you asked for premeditated murder. I told you, hey, the
I
people in
want
the class
cameras.
specifically
Premeditated
called
murder,
for
Prime.
the death of the
I'm
cops.
not sure if you know
right?
what premeditated.
That's
I
the
want-
death of the one. When you say let's kill the cops and then the cops end up dead, would that be premeditated or not? Right? But I say, hey, we decided to kill the cops and the cops end up dead. Is that the definition? Maybe I'm missing it. Try me.
Okay,
You don't need a
cameras.
lot of time for it to be premeditated.
We
but-
want
that's not how it
cameras,
works.
gang. You from Prime. Prime, you should know this. Cameras help the algorithm. Tally, camera.
My nipples.
Put a shirt on, motherfucker. Okay?
I'm up right now.
And
You
if I
put
may
a shirt
just
on too,
quickly,
Tally. Right? Yeah.
while we're figuring out our cameras here, I just did a quick, consulted the good old ChatGPT, asked how many Republicans support January 6th. Economist YouGov poll March 2023 said 27% strongly or somewhat approved of Capitol rioters' action. So you're talking about 3/4
Who
who
voted for Donald Trump?
well,
Wait, Gen Z attorney, did you vote for Trump?
I did, yeah.
Do you support Gen 6?
No, of course not.
Okay, why did you vote for Trump?
So we can have this debate. I think it would.
It's like so fucking irrelevant.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
you would think so.
no. My
I mean, it
only
literally
point
is
is,
irrelevant.
I'm happy to go down the path. It's just going to
Well,
take.
because it seems to
quite
me
a-
that Gen Z attorney disavowed a lot of political violence. However, he voted for the guy who supported Gen.
Skip to 535. That's where it gets spicy.
Someone should go and bail out this guy out, the guy who attacked Paul Pelosi. Bail him out and then go ask him some
His
questions.
gay lover spreading that misinformation as well.
Oh, did he say? Oh, was he part of the gay lover thing? He might have
He was
been.
also saying that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely.
So that it wasn't actually a real attack, or it wasn't like a real right winger who did it. I don't know if the guy was right wing, but he was like schizophrenic or whatever the fuck. Right?
That's why I'm so confused why this keeps being brought.
Raizel was say Charlie Kirk a better man than Destiny. If we're talking about personal versus professional, I think I could disassociate that. I would say that Charlie Kirk was a good man on a personal level and did a lot of the hallmarks of which we laud men in masculine achievement on a personal level. I think Steven's personal life does have a lot of things that you should criticize. Absolutely. Politely, tactfully, as a friend. So I could agree to that. I would say politically or professionally, though, I think Charlie Kirk's an infinitely bigger piece of shit.
Brought up as an example of politically targeted violence.
Fatsimo says, don't agree with my politics. Death is justified. That's right, Fatsimo. Jihadists and I have a political disagreement. Fatsimo, you have like the takes of a fucking toddler, okay? If a jihadist wants to take over my country, enslave the women, murder the men who resist them, and institute an Islamic caliphate, should I be able to kill them? The answer is yes. I was a Marine. I was taught to kill jihadists. They said, if you see a jihadist, you shoot him. Shoot him in the chest. Shoot him in the face. Shoot him until he's dead. That's what the United States government told me. Okay? Then I also swore an oath to defend and uphold the Constitution and the Republic of the United States. So on the far left, there's communist revolutionary dickheads who want to LARP and overthrow the government of the United States. And if it came to armed violence, I would kill them as well. And then same thing with fascists. If fascists, let's say that Trump comes out and he's like, I'm a fascist. I'm going to kill all the Jews. It's going to be awesome. Let's do it. And then all the Republicans are like, yeah, let's kill all the Jews. Realistically, let's be real. It'll be like Puerto Ricans or something. It'll be something else. They're like, let's kill all the Puerto Ricans. Then I'm going to secure my family and I'm going to get them to a safe place. But if I think that there's a big enough coalition of people who want to save the Republic of the United States, I would view it as my duty to kill fascists. So yes, who wields power, how and why is absolutely important and worth killing and dying over, as evidenced by all of history. The only reason why you can have political violence is never justified. The only reason why you can say that is because we live in a liberal democratic system where we can vote. But once people no longer have power to influence politics, you better fucking believe that violence is on the table. So again, thank you for your middling IQ, elementary school comment, Fatsimo.
Can anyone explain that?
Kirk defended that guy.
They claim
He specifically targeted. No, he came for Nancy Pelosi. He specifically came there to attack Nancy Pelosi. That was his plan. And then Paul Pelosi happened to be the one there.
Right,
But
but
anyway,
This is documented that this guy.
yeah, he
Because
went there
you
to
just made the case that he was schizophrenic and just went crazy. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out. Maybe y'all have information I
But
don't
look
have.
at the way that the right is engaging with it, though, because if the right is, if Donald Trump Jr. and lawmakers.
I do. Somebody says I put Katie Hochul, but somebody asked if it's Gretchen Whitmer. Probably.
And Charlie
Listen, they're both middle-aged white ladies. What do you want me to do?
Kirk are going to be making comments about Paul Pelosi. They're making it political, regardless of the intentions of the guy that came there to shoot. No?
But we're still putting the cart before the horse, because my point earlier was, yes, we can talk about and debate about the proper response, and I agree. Look, y'all are not going to find disagreement with me in saying these are crass, bad taste jokes. My focus is not the aftermath. My focus is what is the conduct that's feeding into that causes it to happen in the first place.
Truzel just put something in my chat. So mind-bendingly fucking stupid that I'm actually having difficulty. We've had conversations in the past that were good faith, so I'm going to try to keep a certain level of calm as I address his statement. COVID was projected to kill hundreds of millions. Okay. So let's go ahead and do a calculator. And let's do how many people on Earth are over the age of 60? 1.4 billion people. What is the lethality of COVID by age group? So it's 63 plus or 60 plus. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, age stratified fatality rate. Let's find fatality rate. So 60 to 69. Box plot infection fatality rate estimates across countries per each age specified. Note the 25th percentile of 0 to 19 and 20 to 29 age bins don't show. Okay. So this puts the fatality range of 6. I think I've seen it as high as 5%, but I could just roll with 1% if you want. Let's just roll with 1%. So what was it? It was like 1.5 billion, 1.4 billion, something like that. So 1,400,000 million billion. Is that correct? No, I think that's trillion. Let me do that again. 1,400,000 million. Okay, so 1,000 million billion, 1.4 billion. Okay, so this is 1.4 billion times 0.01 is 14 million people. And this is just the old people with an ideal fatality rate. This isn't even talking about people who are 80 plus, because I'm pretty sure their mortality rate isn't even higher. This isn't even talking about anybody under the age of 60 who was injured or killed because they had like a, 0.05, 0.01% chance of fucking dying from COVID, right? And we lost 1.1 million people in the United States with lockdowns. So do you think if we just ignored COVID, if we didn't develop any vaccines, and if we just let people do whatever the fuck they wanted to do, Do you think that that number would have been higher or lower, True Zealot? Because I'm pretty sure lockdowns and vaccinations statistically almost guaranteed saved lives. How many people died from COVID worldwide? 21 million. So we lost 21 million people. Over 7 million COVID, but an actual number maybe 3 times higher. So the estimates from the Center for Infectious Disease is 21 million people worldwide, and that was with lockdowns and vaccinations. So yeah, I bet that if we hadn't done any lockdowns or any vaccinations, this easily could have broached 100 million. 100%. So thanks for something right and stupid on my chat so I could get angry at you.
Because when we're talking about why Charlie Kirk gets shot, why Trump gets shot at, we're not focused as much on the response as isn't our whole conversation here like how do we avoid this happening again, which is going towards what's causing this, not what the reaction is.
De-escalation. Just real quick, $5. $5.
Wait, in chat.
They didn't overthrow the government. Yeah, they tried to, Fatsimo, just in case you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I'll give him in a second. $5 from Deej Nuts to say, for your info, Wick, I want to make it clear I did not mean you in my statement about justifying the murder, just Prime. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, Genzi, attorney. First of all, I want to come at you with positive energy. I think you've been trying to like engage in this in a really like healthy way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Shout out to you. I've never met you before, but I like you so far. But let's talk about like again, what I'm trying to say is we should be able to discuss a person's political actions and the commentary and all that stuff, even just after a tragedy. But a lot of pushback has been like, well, okay, the rhetoric you're using, right, talking about these things, will increase violence. Okay, so let's talk about before they die, right? Now, I understand since you voted for him.
TS Phantom says, Connor, just ignore the trolls. If they are unable to fathom an actual conservative putting their foot down to critique atrocious behavior from their own side, they're already ideologically lost. Nope. Part of the content is talking shit to shitheads.
I'm sure you won't agree with me, but I also think Trump is a fascist. I think he's a real fascist. I think one of the reasons I think Charlie Kirk is a fascist is his deep support for Trump and excusing all the horrible things he does, demagoguing from. But anyway, whatever. But
Hans Mayer says, Connor, if Trump calls for the military to secure power for himself, do you believe that the American military will comply? No, I don't. Quick shill. You guys have been super generous today. We got crazy amounts of donations. So I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm sorry that you died. And then my chat rewarded me for covering your death. I don't know how I feel about that, but thank you for the super chats, Charlie. And thank you to my actual chat for giving my super chats. But the enlistment oath of the U.S. military. So Hans Mayer, this is the enlistment oath that we all take whenever we enlist or become officers. I think the officer one is a little bit different, but the vibes are the same. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. The reason why this is so important for people who actually take their oaths seriously is that before you say that you will follow the orders of the President of the United States and the officers appointed over you, you swear allegiance to the Constitution and the Republic of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, first. Then, as an addendum to you being charged with following the orders of the officers and of the President of the United States, is according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. We are held as United States warriors, airmen, soldiers, Marines, guardsmen, etc. We are held to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So if we are given an unlawful order, like murdering civilians, or if we're giving an unlawful order, like depose Congress, then you are dissolving the oath that all military members swear. And then at that point, it just becomes how many people are ready to die for Donald Trump versus how many people are ready to die for the Constitution and the Republic of the United States. Now, I think the number of Trump loyalists in the military is probably scarily high, especially in the Army. I think it's probably scarily high in the Army. But if it was like a 60-40 split, there's still a 40% split of the country that is more loyal to the Republic than to Donald Trump. And I don't think the Trump loyalists would shoot the constitutional loyalists in order to try to in order to make Donald Trump dictator for life. And if they did, then it would be time for civil war. True Zealot says, I know you know these things, hence disingenuous. Nope. Jack Darko says, true. All middle-aged white ladies look the same. True. Gen X $5 says, Hutch said cops responding to an incident at DNC right now. Yeah, well, I blame Phil Labonte. I blame Tim Pool. I blame Orrin McIntyre. I blame all the people over the past 24 hours who have effectively said, oh, you killed the guy who likes to debate? Well, you're not going to like it so much when we kill you. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay. Well, one of your audience members is going to see those tweets and they're going to conduct a terrorist attack. So yeah, I believe. Yep. It's Gaza protesters, not MAGA related. Well, I think we'll still be waiting over the next couple of days for a MAGA assassination or MAGA terrorist attack response to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Yeah. All right. Anyways.
But, again, I know you don't agree with that. However, if people on the left talk about Trump as being a horrible authoritarian, right? They don't even use the word fascist. Horrible authoritarian as cracking down our civil liberty.
All right. West Coast Girl is saying that we can't move on until we fix our mind map. Let's fix it. We're being racist to white women and the white women won't have it. Leave it to white women to make it all about themselves. Recent, Paul Watson is a dumbass. It's not Katie Hochul. I was just being racist against white women. It's Gretchen Whitmer. Listen, it's not my fault, but they're both middle-aged white women, getting tired. All right, Gretchen. I'll put Whitmer. Whitmer kidnapping plot. There, boom, it's fixed. I hope you're happy. All right, I'm going to use the restroom because I need to. I parasocially love you. Thank you to the 200 plus people who have watched me today and have continued to watch me throughout my coverage, even though I'm mostly engaging with chat and half-ass watching this content. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them, and if you had a good time today, come back tomorrow. We do content 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'll be live tomorrow for a show as well. Monday through Friday, I'm live on Valor Media Network, the channel that you're watching me on right now. On Tuesdays, I'm live on Counterpoints Politics. I'll be right back. I parasocially love you. 1 second.
Is right as a threat to democracy. Is that not allowed? Because someone somewhere could say, oh, a threat to our democracy, which the liberal media has been saying for years, right? A threat to our democracy, hey, we should take care of him. Should we also not be able to talk about that before the tragedy?
No, actually, I'll agree with you as far as, no, I think a lot of this should be open to criticism and open for debate. I think the issue is when we're seeing use of these terms like fascist, racist, like they just become so devalued and being applied to so many situations where they just don't apply, that's what's creating the spinning up that when there is actual genuine criticism, it's getting lumped into, or you might actually have a legitimate critique to say that might be a fascistic thing, like for him to do something unilaterally by EO. Where he's got no.
This is why I push the word fascistic aside, because I know you're going to disagree with that. Let's move that away. Let's say we just call him authoritarian, right? Which he is. Let's say that he's lawless, which he is. Let's say that he's a threat to democracy, which the liberal media has been saying for years. They've been saying that, right? I think there could be people who say like, well, if he's a threat to democracy, a threat to the country, well, I should do something about that, right? Mm-hmm. So those words that criticism never be out there. I mean, we can't let authoritarian take over the country, can we?
Well, that's why I think everyone, if we want to talk about what we do moving forward, is being a lot more careful, a lot more particular in making these pointed critiques. I'm surely y'all can agree with me. I hope that terms like racist, sexist, fascist get thrown around a little loosely.
I don't. Hold on. I think we sort of see that a lot.
I don't
Well, they
agree.
do on
The
their side. Where are they going to
reason
be at?
Okay,
why-
we're
I'm gonna
having
jump in
20
here. The
different people
reason
talking.
why-
Hold on, just real quick. We're gonna Peaches and Ash. Peaches and Ash. Go ahead.
I think that the word fascist and other words like it do get thrown around a lot to the point that it gets tired, and I absolutely agree with you. But I think that would also speak to the idea of like calling somebody a fascist isn't as much of a cry of violence that we've been making it on the panel today. Now, especially when we're going to be comparing it to jokes that
Yeah, it doesn't mean
lawmakers
anything
make
anymore,
about
right?
violence
Yeah.
against
so it
people.
doesn't mean anything, and it
causes violence at the same time. That's kind
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Ash.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so jumping in here, they're using it for friend-enemy distinction. So yes, it doesn't really mean anything insofar as are you applying the specific definition historically that matches up with the fascist. All right, Charlie Kirk goes on and cries about transports 24/7. Okay, does that make him a fascist? No, but does calling him a fascist call for violence? Yes. Because you've been calling for violence against people you identify as fascists for the past 10 years at the very least. The punch a Nazi thing, how long was that going on for? Nobody was at home thinking, well, I'm not a Nazi, I'm safe. They're thinking, if I get called a Nazi, then that's just putting a target on my back. So the problem here is that you're looking for any excuse you can use to just update your friend-enemy distinctions and advocate for. When Prime Kais went back and said, well, it sucks that he got shot, but remember this guy was a fascist, what he's saying is it was good.
I would love it if Republicans ever thought about their rhetoric at any time an attack on a left-wing politician happened. I would love it if that happened.
Okay, that might be
We
good.
don't live in that world, though,
but just to be clear, that
Oliver in the twist says there are no constitutional loyalists in this era. Okay, well, if Antifa militias start battling Trump militias, MAGA militias in the streets, I'm not taking part in that violence. I'll let them kill each other because, frankly, I think they're both pieces of shit and probably deserve to smoke each other. And then what I would say is if that Trump tries to usurp the Constitution of the United States and the military enables him to do it, I'll leave the fucking country. I will. Like, if there's enough people to fight who want to fight, I'll join the people who are fighting for the Republic of the United States. If the liberals are too big of pussies, if the people who don't vote are too big of pussies, if there's so many Republicans, literally the name of the word is Republican. I can think of no greater sin than a Republican betraying their republic to reinstall a monarch. So if the quote unquote Republicans are secret monarchs and there's enough people to fight them, I'll fight them as well. If there's not enough if there's not enough people, then I said what I needed to say. It's a republic if we can keep it. That's what Benjamin Franklin said, and he was right. It's a republic if we can keep it.
It might be good, but just to be clear, what happened on this panel was calling for more violence.
I
No, it
mean,
wasn't.
the
Nobody
problem
called
is
for
like
more
I
Yes,
don't
it was.
Didn't
Calling him a
happen.
fascist.
Not
It's
happen.
okay
Yeah.
to be fascist.
Frank, I
He
did
was
not
a
say that.
fascist. People like him are fascist. So shoot
yeah,
them.
people who believe
Okay, but if they're political corporatists and flexible authoritarians, then they're just fascists.
in authoritarian take over the government and like people who believe in using the judiciary.
Was that
against people
Charlie
the way
Kirk?
He does, yes. And I mean, people who do
Okay,
like
so you
they
approve of
are
shooting him.
fascistic.
No. Shooting should be an absolute last resort, even with fascists within a liberal society. Sabian Green says the issue with the military isn't who is loyal to Trump, but who is willing to be the first one to disobey an illegal order. Humans are herd animals, and the first legal orders won't be big ones, or illegal orders won't be big ones. Yeah, probably. Like it'll be like secure the Capitol. It won't be like shoot Mike Pence, right?
But
To see how
or,
you
so
really
sorry, if we
Did you say that?
identify a problem and identify like a belief that somebody has and what that belief is necessarily, just because we go A to B to C to D means that we can't say it because we're obviously saying that this person should be killed. Like, because here's the thing, I mean, when we talk about what Republicans are doing. Every day on Fox News, it's like Democrats are destroying the country. They're going to come for your children. They're going to hurt your kids. They're going to hurt that. Do you think that the people don't believe that motherfuckers who are going to like come take your kids or like come like mutilate their whatevers should be hurt or killed? I mean, like, what? We can't say anything then? Because like clearly we should be the only ones to say that.
Democrats kill babies.
Before you respond to that, $10 from Mr. Everything to say, for a Gen Z lawyer, would you say the same thing about the word communism, socialism, or any other word thrown at the left?
Well, I'll just correct it by saying it's Gen Z attorney, not Gen Z lawyer. So get it together.
Get it right.
Unbelievable. Also, I know it's a mouthful. I said it earlier. You could.
Sorry, AK Batasui, you said something that frustrates me. Calling cartel terrorists civilians is kind of a stretch. Number one, how do you know that they're members of the cartel? Number two, if they're members of the cartel, then how are they terrorists? Has Tren de Aragua attacked the United States? Now, trust me, I'm all about sending special forces into Central and South America in order to aid local governments to take out organized, violent, criminal cartel gangs. I'm all about that shit. But how do you know that those motherfuckers on the boat were members of the cartel? And number two, how are they terrorists? Explain it to me. What terrorism have they engaged in? Because if it's terrorism against the government of Venezuela, don't we hate Venezuela? Why would I give a fuck? You tell me.
Scotty, whatever y'all want, that's fine too. To answer the question though, I guess I would have to look at the outcomes are really what matter the most to me here, because where are we seeing the, I guess, widespread, or I guess any actionable takes that people are saying on the name of communism, I'm going after this person because they're a communist.
People call Democrats baby killers, and then people go and attack abortion clinics.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah. I'll concede that. Look, I'm willing to concede any specific acts of violence. It'd be ridiculous not to. But my point would be, where is we seeing this as a broad trend?
Terrorism.
Hold on. AKA Batasui. No, I disagree with you. I actually think that you have your order of operations incorrect. It's not calling them Nazis that's a problem. It's the part where they say we can delete Nazis. Oh, okay. No. Actually, I agree with you. I think that fascists within a liberal system have every right to exist as ideologues who can articulate a worldview that they think the world would be a better place if the world followed their ideology. However, I do think I want to keep it all legal. So actually, you know what? I'm with you, because I don't think you should be able to extra legally kill Nazis just because they're Nazis. I think you should kill Nazis when they start doing violent shit to impose their ideology. So actually, you know what? I take it back. I agree with you.
A broad trend.
America has been by right wingers.
A, as a broad trend. B, as a broad defense of the broad trend. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm not seeing.
Do we
usually by white supremacists?
On the right
just real quick? Do we think, and this was just brought to my attention, do we think that it's okay that Trump is having the flags fly at half-mast for Charlie Kirk, but he refused to do that when a Minnesota legislator died? The tradition would demand.
I think it's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I mean, how he said that he doesn't even need to call walls because it's a waste of time. Yet we're supposed to go all the way on our side to be like, oh my God, it was such a tragedy when he couldn't even make a phone call, my dude.
Yeah, this is where we're talking about like human decency, where if conservatives want to come out and say like, well, this would be the decent thing to do. It's like, okay, well, you've been visibly indecent for a decade. So you're asking for a kind of human kindness that you have not extended to anybody else except for people within your tribe.
But see,
you're
I'm
right.
going to push. I'm pushing back.
If there's terrible behavior in this country, we should just match it, because that is exactly the way to get past it.
Let me push back on that specifically.
Let
me talk about matching it. You're also just
nobody said that.
Let me talk about
the calling for more people to be shot.
So
Tammy K says drugs from South America have killed way more Americans than any terrorist. Yeah, I'm gonna show you something, Tommy K. Look at this, because you guys just love saying stupid shit today. You really do. Person doing fentanyl. Let's see if we got an image of that. Okay. Here's somebody smoking fent. Here's somebody smoking, inhaling. Looks like you inhale it, I guess, okay? So I guess you inhale fent. I'm not a fent guy. I'm a caffeine guy. So terrorist shooting someone in the face. Terrorist shooting someone. So do you think there's a qualitative difference? This is like a stock photo of a gun being wielded at civilians. I'm not going to find something intentionally violent, but do you think that there's a difference between Americans shooting and snorting drugs into their own system that they know that's bad for them versus a terrorist shooting someone in the fucking face? Do you think there's a qualitative difference between these two things? I would argue that there is. And if you don't think that there's a qualitative difference, I think you're an idiot.
So if Trump were to make a phone call to Tim Walz and say, I'm sorry for your loss, would everyone here be like, that's an awesome thing to do? No one here would be saying, oh, he's just doing that for the cameras.
I would give him credit for that.
No, I would give him credit for that.
Yeah,
Of course.
We're all saying it'd be a good thing to, so no one here would think it's just simply performative. And
some
he's just
performances
doing it.
matter, right?
think
Some of
it- I
these
think it's okay
performances,
if it's
especially, hold on, just real quick, this is important, and then I got a super chat, and I'll let you guys go. But some performatives, even if they don't really actually mean it in their heart of hearts, still matter, especially when you're a public figure, especially when you're the president of the United States. There is a reason we have certain performances, as you want to call them, and certain norms that we follow,
Like
even if
visiting
we
the
don't
site of
really
disaster.
want to. $5 from Combat Seawolf to say the word fascist gets thrown around too much, the point of everything. Every time they say that word, it's pretty much projection on their end. Thank you for the $5. But yeah, performances matter. And it might be just performative, but I think that it still is something that we should
to back you up, Wick, right? To back you up on that, it was East Palestine, the site of that crash.
Kill me. Wise Ferrets, a small government and individual liberty is the opposite of government authority and equality. Fascists hate MAGA because MAGA wants freedom of speech, religion, gun ownership, and privacy. That's cute. That's funny. That's funny. So MAGA wants freedom of speech, but a healthy chunk of except for when it comes to BDS laws, except when it comes to immigrants critical of the state of Israel, except when it comes to immigrants who are critical of the United States. And by the way, I agree with that. I think if you're critical of the United States, then you can fuck right off. Well, maybe not critical of the United States. You can be critical of the United States. You shouldn't be an enemy of the United States. So immigrants don't get free speech. Got it. Then religion. Yeah, if you're Christian. Gun ownership, based, and privacy. I don't even know where you pulled that out of your ass, Wise Ferret. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Crash, the train crash that happened a few years ago with the chemical spill, right? Trump came to the site, right? To that site. He came and there was that scene where he was like, I believe he was in a McDonald's, if I'm not mistaken, and he was like handing out food, right? I don't think that Trump, because he's a horrible person, I don't think he's a fuck about those people. I don't think he gives a fuck about the East Palestinians.
True Zealot, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. How about that? How about that? There you go. You're not a part of my community anymore. How about that shit? I talk to dozens of fucking people, hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people about every fucking topic possible. I interact with my chat more than any other fucking streamer on the planet. And you have the fucking balls to say disingenuous, you won't deal with it. I'm pretty sure I went on a 10-minute fucking rant about how this was comparable to this, but these things might not be comparable in that they're quote unquote political violence, but they are still violence that's the result of politics. And so as a result, people are going to hate you if you're a member of MAGA. So if you missed my 10-minute rant, True Zealot, directly addressing what you said. That's not my fault. Your fault. It's your fault. And if you're going to keep saying, "Oh, he's disingenuous. He's disingenuous. He's disingenuous. He didn't see. He didn't respond to what I said." But number one, I responded to what I saw, and number two, you don't re-articulate. You don't re-articulate what you said. Then fuck you. You don't have to be a part of my community. I don't need you. I don't want you. You think I'm lying? I'm not lying. I'm telling you exactly what I'm thinking almost all of the time. I talk to dozens, hundreds, thousands of people all the time. But because I'm not specifically addressing some chat that you threw in a chat of 200 people, I'm lying to you. You can fuck off. You can fuck right off.
Or any Palestinians, for that matter. However, right, that performance was politically valuable, right? It was politically valuable to him, and it was politically valuable to the country to show.
Wise Ferret says, we know it's a cartel boat because it's in our waters illegally trying to sneak large packages on a small boat. It wasn't even in our waters, you idiot. I think it was 2,700 miles south. Where was the boat that Trump blew up? Okay. Let's see if it's in the news stories. The deadly U.S. military strike in the Caribbean this week on a boat allegedly carrying drugs from Venezuela is the latest measure from President Trump taking a combat to threat that he sees from Trenda Aragua gang. The White House has offered few details on Tuesday's attack and insists the 11 people on board, which is already weird, were members of the gang. The criminal organization, which traces its roots to Venezuelan prison, is not known for having a big role in global drug trafficking, but for its involvement in contract killings, extortions, and human smuggling. Oh, sweet. So it sounds like human smuggling. We might have just blown up 8 random Venezuelans because there were 11 on the boat. So let's say 3 of them were human smugglers. Let's say that we just smoked 8 random Venezuelan civilians. That's cool. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth warned Wednesday that the United States will keep assets positioned in the Caribbean and strike anyone trafficking in those waters who we know is a designated narco-terrorist. U.S. officials have yet to explain how the military determined that those aboard the vessel were Trenda Aragua members. The strike represents a paradigm shift in how the U.S. is willing to combat crime. All right, so I'm pretty sure the boat strike was immediately off of the Venezuelan coast. It was like when they left Venezuelan waters into international waters. I'm pretty sure it wasn't off of our coast. If it was running in international waters from overseas and it was near Florida, weirdly enough, I would think that that was more justifiable. Blow up something, Graham told Trump. The brazen military strike on a suspected drug smuggling speedboat carrying 11 people from Venezuela this month is just what the South Carolina senator had in mind, but has cleaved fresh divisions. Yeah, I don't know. Why would 11 people be on a drug ferrying boat? Wouldn't you want a small amount of people and a maximum amount of cargo? That's weird to me. That's weird to me right off the gate. And I did see somebody say that it was 2,700 miles or something like that, which might be too far. So that's probably an incorrect tweet, to truth be told. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And until the Trump admin releases more details, I'm not going to trust you.
Show that someone cared. Biden didn't show up. Right, Biden showed up like months later, if I remember correctly, months later, and people didn't think it was genuine at that time. I criticized Biden there because it seemed like he didn't give a fuck, right? But for Trump, right, and especially with his affect, because he's really good at this, right? For his affect, he made people think that he really care about those people who are affected by a massive failure of government, failure of our corporate regulations, right? He was there to say that was wrong, right? But he was lying about that. But yeah, performances matter.
Right.
I don't think, no, my point was not, what I never made the point performances don't matter. I'm just saying if Trump were to do something that it was, y'all are saying it's bad he didn't do it. I'm just was to see if everyone.
Tamike says, you can take Fent in multiple ways. Flooding a nation with addictive poison is terrorism. You're an idiot. Do you think that shooting somebody in the face and Americans consuming hard drugs is the same thing? That's genuinely stupid. It's a stupid thing. I don't know why you would say it. I don't know why you would say it. I'm too tired to be angry at you.
You're saying that y'all would actually take that as genuine and take that as credible and not just spin
Well,
it
I'm
off
saying,
as.
well,
Well,
the
we
point
said
that
we
I'm
would, but
saying
you
is that
just
it doesn't
weren't.
matter. It doesn't matter if it's genuine or not, right? That the performance itself can matter.
Well,
I don't think I think a lot of presidents don't give a crap about like all the like the disaster zones they have to visit or whatever, or all like the condolences they have to send out, right? It's just like I got to do this, but it's important that you do this.
Yeah, no, I
There's a
agree. I
difference-
just Deej said something. Sorry, I'll let you speak real quick. Deej said something earlier that I think you zip. You asked him a question and he gave you an answer you weren't expecting, and so you just said, "Well, okay, well, you're lying." Then that's kind of what I was getting at. That's all.
Wait, what was the question again?
I forget what exactly it was, but he gave you an answer that was more of a
Oh, I thought
concession.
something was dishonest. I know. I remember. I don't
I
remember.
want to
Yeah,
give
and
I want to give the mic to Ash, and then I want to give the mic to Doobie, and then Katya. So that's all.
You do be first.
Okay,
You do
Doobie
be
first.
first. I gotta wrap something.
Excuse me. Officer Nasty says, Connor, did you see the DNC is currently being surrounded by police? Seemingly an attack is taking place. Somebody was saying that it was a Gazan protest. That's what I heard in chat earlier. So.
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
President Doobie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Doobie.
Doobie, are you muted, buddy?
Uh-oh.
Am I?
Got a frog in his throat.
No.
Oh, no.
I feel
Let's give it to Katya. Let's give it to Katya.
Before
Let's give
you
it to
join,
Katya.
you have to leave and go.
Yeah.
yeah, I cut off Katya. I'd like.
Wait, Tommy K. Seriously, bro. I'm sorry. You're like too dumb for me to be mean to. So if it was smuggling drugs and humans, do you think that so you have let's say that there's 11 people on the boat, and let's say that it's filled with drugs, and there's 8 people who are trying to escape a failed communist state by smuggling into America and seeking political asylum. Do you A, board shoot out their engines, board their boat, detain and investigate, or B, blow them up?
Yeah, let's give it to Katya while Doobie fixes his shit. Go ahead.
Oh, so based. Void Parrot says deprogram has just been banned and Hassan is seething. That's so awesome. On deprogram, they were unironically just advocating for revolutionary, terroristic Marxist-Leninism. I'm so happy it got banned. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, even if people would say it's performative, I feel like there's a difference between, even performing the performative action than going out of your way to say that even doing it is a waste of your time. I feel like that's kind of a different thing to just refuse to make a single phone call in a time like that and then demand sympathy at this point. It just seems a bit crazy. And I mean, like most Democrats are giving that sympathy absolutely in a way that they just don't. It's like, we talk about both stooping to a level, but where do we go from here, right?
All right, I think I'm good. The whole thing, as far as I can see it, is Prime and other people are making parallel arguments to me. I actually didn't hear that much that was egregious, and the conservative guy here or whatever was perfectly reasonable. Whenever they brought up something that were like, "Hey, didn't conservatives do this bad thing?" He was like, "Yeah, they did that bad thing. That's messed up. I don't like that. That's not cool." And then the whole argument. I'm sure it could get spicier later on, but I don't think I necessarily care. Yeah, killing Charlie Kirk, not justified, evil, counterproductive, stupid. Assassinating your people in a free society with elections is dumb as shit, and it invites more and more political violence. I think the country is in a holding pattern, waiting to see what happens after the murder of Charlie Kirk to see if there's reprisal terrorist attacks. And so as a result, we're just going to be in that holding pattern until everybody gets the balls to actually start doing politics again. Love you, little gods in chat. I love you guys too. Parasocially love you. Thank you for all the donations. Go watch another one of your favorite streamers. I'll catch you tomorrow.